So the way that we're using Field Agent here, this is an example in Pueblo, Colorado. What we did is we took the system and we asked it something that would require a fixed date and time report to be generated in Insight. And the power here is that I can ask the system, hey, show me all of the gunfire events over the last 30 days. So essentially, when I run that prompt, what you're going to see here is a result of all of the events that meet that criteria. And as I start to go through each of these events, we're going to see that there are probable gunfire events, single or multiple gunshots, very similar to what you would see in ShotSpotter or Insight. And then the system's going to start to provide me some potential prompts that I'd want to utilize. Now, with this, we created a data file here, which is a GeoJSON overlay. And what I'm actually going to do is change directions on the system. And I asked it specifically, what are the schools that are in, near, or around my agency? Now, we preloaded a lot of these, so they're available in layers. I'm going to toggle those schools on. And what you'll see is that the system went out and mapped the 15 schools that I requested. And once again, is going to ask me some other compelling things. Are there things that I want to take and I maybe want to look for incidents in your schools, or I want to take and you choose that quick prompt for those schools that had the most gunfires nearby. Now, in this particular case, I wanted to see the shooting events within 1,000 feet of schools. So that creates a new layer, which is a filtered layer of the points that we just had. And it's going to show me all of those gunfire events in, near, or around schools within 1,000 feet. And the system is going to go out. It's going to identify those that have the highest level of activity, the moderate single incidents. I could pare this down. I could say, show me the worst impacted school. I could say, only highlight this particular location. But in this case, we're going to now look at some other prompts that come up. So which incidents occurred near schools? Show the details of a specific school, and I'm actually going to change directions. Now, maybe I want to see if there's a correlation between liquor stores that are near these schools and were they potentially impacted. Now, the reality is those liquor stores are pretty good distance from most of the schools and most of the shooting events that we see on the map display. But the system, again, is prompting me, do you want to look at those incidents that occurred near liquor stores, very similar to schools? Do I want to look at those incidents of all gunfire, or do we want to see when do incidents occur near liquor stores? Again, I'm going to change the prompts and what I'm using. So in this scenario, I flip things around just a little bit. We're going to turn off some of those point layers, my liquor stores and schools. And now what I've done is I've asked the system to go a little bit of a different direction. I don't have this capability, once again, in Insight. This is going to be a new report. I've got to generate a new screen, select a new canned report. Now the system is allowing me to simply, on the fly, change directions on the data I'm querying and what I'm prompting it for. And now I have the ability to see where those areas are, basically from red, yellow, green, where the worst gunfire incidents are occurring. Now, I can change this back to points. I can compare it to last month. But once again, I'm going to change directions entirely and say, hey, I'm curious, because I have Plate Ranger deployed in my agency, I want to see those shooting events that had specific or common license plates. So essentially, we're looking for maybe a serial trigger puller who happens to be going through events. Now, the interesting thing is this: of the 14 incidents, 12% of them had plate reads. There were no unique plates between each and every one of these events. So that's kind of interesting. It would lead me to believe that maybe we didn't have a serial trigger puller, but now instead of the prompts, I'm going to ask it a completely different question. Why did we not get plate reads? Do we maybe not have LPR cameras in the appropriate locations? And where would be the obvious locations where I'd want to place them? So that's exactly what I asked it. It's going to take and provide those in a essentially red, yellow, green location. And so we're going to turn off the heat map and show you what are the recommended locations based on that criteria. If you'll see, I can hover over these. It'll tell me the actual intersection in that hotspot where I could get essentially more bang for my buck. If I happen to deploy more cameras, I'd have a better chance at capturing plates in that intersection. Now, the last thing that I have the ability to do here, switching gears entirely, is I want to see if there's a temporal analysis, time of day, day of week, that we're seeing some either commonality, or more importantly, I just want to see a graphical representation and visual on the data that we're looking at. So the system is looking at time of day, day of week, hour of day. And then the other thing I asked it is go identify patterns here. So I scrolled down a little bit over where I was because I think I hit this button. But this is now breaking it down and analyzing the information. And then lastly, now I have the ability at the very end to say, go ahead and create a report. I want to go ahead and view this extensive report of all the work that I just did and create a field agent generated report analyzing all of this information. So essentially, this is organizing things into a density map. It's going to take and build out a gunfire incident account. It's going to identify some of the trends and patterns that we were looking at. We can see our hotspot information here. This gives me the ability to see the top addresses and locations that they were occurring. It's also going to provide me a hotspot analysis output that says, by the way, you prompted it to where your recommendations would be for best places to deploy LPR. This is a very comprehensive brief that you can now give to command staff, you can provide to city council, you can provide to your crime analysts. And this is well above and beyond what we have the capabilities to do just using Insight.